And here in New Hampshire, an awful lot is happening. An awful lot is happening. We have, of course, New Hampshire is one of 10 northeastern states to join the first cap-and-trade system in the United States. So it's really good to be a leader here. The Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, or what everybody just calls RGGI, which was signed into law here in New Hampshire by Governor Lynch, a couple of years ago. And this is just beginning to generate significant funds to be used for the most obvious and sensible of all the energy options we've got, which is to increase our energy efficiency. You know, whereas Carter came out and made a famous energy speech on energy, the moral, what was it, the acronym, you know, it was the acronym ended up MEOW, which the Republicans had a lot of fun with. The moral equivalent of war, he said, is our need to free ourselves from foreign. Moral equivalent, the Republicans said that the acronym is MEOW. Anyway, we are, and he came out and made this speech wearing a sweater, which kind of sent the wrong message, because we don't need to wear sweaters and not have heat. We don't need to, you know, read with dim lights. We can have all the energy services we want without any loss of quality or abundance, and do it far more sensibly than we have. I just noticed yesterday on the PUC's website, Jack Ruderman is in charge of handing out, or getting out RFPs, requests for proposals, on the funds that are coming in through this cap-and-trade system, the RGGI system, which is generating huge amounts of money, either from the sale of the renewable energy credits or from those companies that can't meet the requirements and don't buy the credits. They have to pay compliance the compliance fees, and those are significant funds. They just announced they're handing out $5 million in grants yesterday, sort of foundation grants, and he expects there's going to be another $18 million handed out by the end of the year for so-called shovel-ready projects. So you've got that. You've got the fact that when we restructured the electric industry here back a few years ago, we included a small systems benefits charge that appears on your electric bill, which goes to the PUC also to be used for energy efficiency and renewable projects. So we've got these things happening. You know, I find things are much more encouraging now. And we do have the example of what happened in the 70s, and we've learned a lot since then. We've learned that these tax credits may not do so well, and the tax credit doesn't help you if you don't have taxes to pay, for one thing. And a lot of these startups don't have profits and don't have taxes to pay. So we need the direct incentives, and I think we've learned these things and can take advantage of this. And everywhere you look, I think big things are happening. When I was on the campaign trail here just a little while ago, I got in touch with a company down in Merrimack called GT Solar. And they had just put on a giant expansion, and they're going great guns. They're having record revenues. All evidence that this is the economic engine of the future. Now, what are we going to spend all these resources on? And they're very significant resources. Oh, of course, I have to mention that New Hampshire also has joined with many other states in setting a renewable energy standard for 25% of our electricity coming from renewable sources by the year 2025. So, you know, your kids are picking a career, pick a career in the energy field, go to Wentworth and study the engineering here, and it'll make a tremendous difference. And where are we going to spend this on? Well, it turns out the most obvious and quickest place to spend it on, and the place where the most energy is wasted in our economy, is in our buildings. It's even, we think about cars and, higher miles for our cars, but the number one place, I understand it's about 39% of energy demand is in the operation of our buildings, whether residents, government buildings, factories, whatever. And the money is going to be there to work on these things, and it's a great job opportunity. They're going to need the people to do the weatherization and the caulking and and replacing windows and all that stuff. It doesn't all have to be stuff that you need a PhD for. It's going to be hands-on work. It's just going to be terrific.
You can't outsource that.
Right. That's a very good point. You can't outsource that. So that's really the low-hanging fruit. And we do need to tighten up our transportation system. So this time we've got to get this system right and not do what happened in when we moved from the 70s to the 80s and tore it down. I think we still are the most entrepreneurial and innovative country in the world, and we can get back that lead on wind and solar that we gave up due to misguided policies, back in the 1980s. We can get that back. So I think there's every reason to be very optimistic about where we stand and excited about it. And I talked to Jack Ruderman, and he's looking for help. He's got so many grants and things to administer. He's looking to hire people in his office. And then there's got, as I've already said, there's got to be the people that have got to actually do these contracts and get this work done. So all we have to do is make good, sensible choices. I think we have an administration at long last that understands this issue, understands how serious the issue of not only oil dependency is, but the climate change issue. We've skyrocketed up to, what are we at, 380 parts per million of CO2 in the air, and we're in the atmosphere, and we're inevitably going to get up, 450 maybe? And
double or triple, depending on what we do.
And nobody really knows what that means, but it's going to mean huge changes, which may be catastrophic. We can only hope that that's not the case. And these are the things that we can do. And I submit, I'll just leave you with this, the things we don't want to do, going back to my hero and friend Amory Lovins, we don't want to go back to the hard path. We don't want to go back to more giant central stations, whether they burn coal or even in my opinion, the worst of them all, nuclear, that soak up all the capital, soak up all the resources. We've got to keep them from doing that and go where the work is most effective, most cost efficient, and will provide the most employment. And I think the opportunities are there to do that, so let's get it right.